I don't want to just act like this is a super great matchup for the Suns. I think they have a very good chance, but there's going to be a lot of things that have to go right. There's a lot of talk over the last few days in NBA circles about the Phoenix Suns and potentially being the team that could take down the Denver Nuggets. And the first person understands the Nuggets intimately who said this. It was KCP on a podcast saying that the Suns could be their toughest matchup.
I can't read Chairman's mind, but I think he's talking about a team outside of Denver.
Oh, outside of Denver.
Say it's the biggest threat, yeah, in the Western Conference.
I would say a healthy Phoenix, a healthy Minnesota. Because Minnesota's always been tough, even last year. You know, that was potentially going to be there. You know, in that spot they at now. And I would say there's a lot of young teams. Like OKC is on the rise too, man. Just like the first two teams above us, and then a healthy Phoenix. You know, so like I feel like them be our biggest threat.
It says something when a guy that's sitting on that team is saying he thinks a healthy Phoenix is probably the biggest threat. He says, a healthy Minnesota. Well, Minnesota, I highly doubt is going to be healthy in these playoffs. So then he's really saying Phoenix and OKC. And that's speaking a lot. Two teams ahead of you and then one team that's sitting in sixth there.
First thing, spoken like a man that got rings. Because if you ain't got a ring, you're not doing that. You're not even answering that question.
No, you're not. Nobody's better. I'm not scared of anybody.
Right. So he got the ring, so he's comfortable saying that. And funny, talking about the Devin Booker interview, go back and watch it. JJ tried to get Devin to do that. JJ tried to say, hey, man, give me a team in the West or whatever that's on string on defense that can get y'all a problem. And Book said, man, I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that. I ain't giving you no smoke. Like I ain't giving nobody motivation. So that's funny that two different realms here, you know. But I agree with him. I've been saying it from beginning, man. A healthy Phoenix Suns team in the playoffs, playing for the main 16. They're dangerous, man. They're dangerous. And KCP and them boys just saw it the other day in Denver, shorthanded. So yeah, I agree, man. I agree with everything he said. I just think that having a ring allowed him to say it.
I agree. Listen, we've talked all season about Phoenix would be a problem if they could stay healthy. It's always if they could stay healthy. That's always the biggest caveat, and we've seen that this year. When they've not been healthy, it's been it's kind of hit or miss. But when they're healthy, they play pretty good and they win most games. So it doesn't surprise me that KCP would say that, especially on the heels of last week losing, despite the fact that they didn't have Devin Booker in that game. I think that's a significant W against a team that didn't have anybody that was out in Denver. So you add Devin Booker to that mix, a guy who shot damn near fucking 75% against you in the playoffs. Yeah, that's going to be a problem. And I think they can see that firsthand, and I think they match up with them decently. And like I said, Nurkic isn't the type of dude that's going to stop Jokic, but can he cause a little bit of resistance? In last game, you can't say that he didn't. He gave him some resistance. He got physical with him, and Jokic had to figure it out through the game. So it doesn't surprise me. But we've heard that all season. We have heard that all season. We've heard that from a lot of other people, like Phoenix if. And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but talk is cheap. I want to see it in the playoffs, and I want to see this team compete at a high level. And I still don't think we've even scratched the surface of how good this team can be.
Well, it wasn't just KCP. The national media has been kind of down on this team, but Kevin O'Connor and Chris Vernon, part of the Ringer Network, seem like they're changing their tune when it comes to the Phoenix Suns.
They will just put up 120. They will outscore you 15-5 in overtime like they did with their win against the Nuggets after the All-Star break, that they can just get so hot that they're the team that there's no answers for their offense. That doesn't matter how great you are defensively, that they can just go with KD, go with Book, go with Beal, and manage to score enough, and their defense can survive enough through effort. Nurkic being tough, playing a little small ball sprinkled in there. Are the Suns actually number 2? Are they number 2?
We've been together too long because you are reading my mind. Look, I think there's a difference here in being number 2 and being the best chance to knock off the Nuggets.
That's a great way to put it. Yes.
Right, because I do think their size could be exposed against some of the other teams that could really punish them. But you got to remember, they're the ones that gave Denver the most problems last year.
Are the Suns most likely to take down the Nuggets? I mean, that's what their hypothesis is. Do you guys agree with that?
I mean, I can't see why not. Like they got all the tools to be able to do it. It's funny that everybody keeps pointing out the offense. It's not the offense that scares me. It's not the offense that concerns me whatsoever. Like even the times in the fourth quarter where they go a little bit dry, I feel like that's going to work itself out. By the time they get to the playoffs, I don't even feel like that's going to be a topic of discussion. It's always been about the defense. We saw the other night against Cleveland how they were just getting run through like nothing in that first quarter and a half. And then they started to tighten up on defense, cause more problems for Garland, and then things slowed down and they won the game. Can they do that for 48 minutes? Can they be locked in defensively to cause problems for not only the Nuggets, but every other team in the league? If they start off tomorrow like they started off on Monday, they'll be down 50 after 2 quarters. You know what I mean? Because we've seen that the Celtics have that potential they were up 45 on the Warriors at halftime. Like, they have that ability, right? But I don't think that this Suns team, they get up for the good games. They do get up. And I don't think when you look at Cleveland, minus all the stars, that they were really that hyped to play a team that missed all their pieces. So tomorrow night's going to be a significantly different story. Let's see what it looks like a week later, or less than a week later, from what just happened on Saturday. Like, let's see how much a difference Devin Booker really can make against this team. And I hope that's a litmus test. And I hope that the Suns perform well, because they still got so much more room to improve. And defensively is where they're going to have to prove it.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the stats, the Suns have improved defensively every month of the NBA season. Okay, so they're getting better. They're putting the pieces and getting on a quote unquote string. You saw it against Cleveland. They were able to turn it up and say, okay, we're gonna clamp you now. To your point, so I agree. If they do that against Boston, they'll lose by 100. But I don't think they will, because part of why that happened is the motivation that Book talked about, like getting up for a game on a random whatever day it was in Cleveland, right? Against no talent, or not no talent, but a lot of starters out. And so to get back to the point though, is unequivocally, this Suns team is the team that I think, if I were a Denver Nugget fan, or if I was somebody that followed and covered the Nuggets daily, I'd be worried about the Phoenix Suns, because they got 3 guys offensively that are assassins, and they're getting better defensively every month. And to the point at the end, they were the team that gave them the biggest hassle last year. And honestly, I struggle with saying team. I mean, there was 2 guys versus a team last year in the playoffs. That's what it felt like. It felt like Kevin Durant and Devin Booker versus the entire damn Nuggets team. And they went 6 games in a series with Christmas 5, and DeAndre didn't play the last game. So you got to believe that if they get to do this over again, they have a better opportunity.
I'm a little less bullish. If the premise is, are they the most likely in the West to give Denver a hard time? Yeah, but I think part of that has to do with the number of injuries that we're starting to see other teams have. Do the Clippers come out clean? Minnesota's already hurt. Mm-hmm. How does that all play out? For me, it's going to be tough for the Suns, though, because Nuggets' biggest struggles, lack of depth. They don't have a bench. Same could be said for the Suns. So does the series come down to whose bench performs better? And do you really feel safe to say that the Suns' bench will be one, right? 3-point variance is a big thing for the Nuggets. They struggle when a team hits 18 or more threes against them. That's not the Suns. The Suns are averaging 12 makes this year. Like, it's not, they'd have to up that 3-point volume. And then, okay, how does Nurkic has played well defensively in their matchups this year so far, but how does Nurk perform against Jokic in the playoffs? And we know he's not going to stop him, but how much can he slow him down? And what does that backup center spot look like? These things all concern me when it comes to him. Now, one benefit is Jamal Murray struggles against a more lanky defenders, right? And Kevin Durant has stepped up and taken the charge and playing against some of the best on the opponents. So maybe he can slow down Jamal in ways, but I don't want to just act like this is a super great matchup for the Suns. I think they have a very good chance, but there's going to be a lot of things that have to go right. And that 3-point shooting in particular is one that I need to see to believe, because we always talk about they need to get up 30, 38, 40 threes in a game for us to feel good, and they rarely hit that. Does that change in the playoffs? Does that change on the stretch? I don't know.